Hello, in this video I'm going to go over how you can save on gold and materials when you're building your characters for whatever type of task or activity that you're wanting to do, be it trials, dungeons, overland, whatnot. Maybe not so much PvP, it just depends on what your build is, but I'm going to get into it here and we'll talk about a method that I use when I'm building my characters. And that is when you're going to build with a trial set that has a perfected set like this. You're going to want to try and remember to use the jewelry slots for your trials gear. And the reason why is because, as you can see right here on the screen, the chromium is already added. So like if I wanted to build this piece of gear, for example, it only costs me the trait stone to build this because it's already golded out. And now that only counts for the jewelry. If you go and try and build a piece of the armor, for example, you have to actually use Dreugh Wax here. So you can depending on your build, if you're not using a mythic on your jewelry, then you can get 3 of the 5 trial pieces golded out for only the cost of the transmute crystals and the trait material. And then you may or may not have to put a different glyph on it depending on what you're doing with your build. But this is a good way to save on materials so that you can get your build stronger, because one of the most powerful things you can do to make your build more potent is to gold out your jewelry and your weapons. The reason is for example, if you're doing a Bloodthirsty jewelry here, you get 350 weapon and spell damage from the golded out jewelry. So if you conversely look at the blue version here and go to Bloodthirsty, it's only 280 for the blue category. If you upgrade it to purple or zircon level, it's 315. So if you're just going to go from blue to gold, you're talking about 70 weapon and spell damage per piece of jewelry. So that adds up to 210 weapon and spell damage across all 3 pieces of your jewelry that you're going to have to try and gold out by either going to farm resources or doing surveys, or you can try and buy it on traders. Now I'm going to go into why this is a little bit of an advantage to do this. For one, you're taking one gold material out of the equation by doing this, because rather than having to go farm chromium and Dreugh Wax and tempering alloy, you're now only going to have to farm for alloys or Dreugh Wax, or if you're also using a wood item like a resto staff or something like that, then you'll have to get rosin as well. But you can remove the jewelry gold mats out of the equation completely if you have the perfected jewelry from the trial set that you're trying to run. So just to go over a little bit, what I try to do to keep it easy for myself to remember where my trial pieces are, I build the jewelry in the trials gear, and then I tend to try and keep the trials gear on the bigger pieces of my build. For example, the chest and the legs, as you can see here. That way I know that my secondary set is going to be on the feet, gloves, and belt. And it may be that the trials set is also on the boots, depending on if it's a set that needs to be active at all times or not. So it just depends on what kind of sets you're using, but I would recommend picking a setup that works for you, but I would try and nail down the jewelry as being the trials set so that you can save on the chromiums. And just to give you an idea, now that we have these add-ons, you can take a look and see the difference in price For example, tempering alloy has an average right now of 3160. Dreugh Wax is 4828. If you go all the way down to the bottom here, you can look at rosin, and it's 2501. So why am I talking about the chromium? Well, it's the most expensive of the four. So if you can eliminate the need for going to farm that, that's going to help you get more builds done, because you're going to require less resources to gold out your builds. And the other thing is on your armor pieces for divines, this is only going to increase your mundus, and it will increase some of the stats here as well when you gold it out. But the bigger bang for your buck is going to be your jewelry and your weapons in terms of gaining power in your build. So I would start with the jewelry, and then you can get your weapons golded out, and then the Dreugh Wax is pretty usually probably one of the cheaper gold mats, along with rosin. Tempering alloy depends on when you're looking for it. It can be expensive, but I would definitely shop around. Don't buy just any old set of gold materials off the traders. Shop around, look around, do some surveys. If you really are hard up on gold and all that, then you can always just do some surveys, refine your materials from when you're running overland or dungeons and whatnot. And just from a small amount of refining, you could get quite a bit of gold mats from just a little bit. I mean, here's 235. I got 2 alloys out of that. So I mean, you can always get materials this way. I know there's a rumor or a myth that you could get more if you do this in partitions. That's not true. That's not worth your time to sit here and just do a little bit at a time. Just refine all your stuff. Here's 728 ash, for example, and I got 4 rosin. So it's not an exact science on what you're going to get from refining, but that's just one way you can save money on your builds and get to where you're maxed out on your build and try it out. I would recommend that you kind of maybe use a couple online tools when you're building before you actually build the setup, unless you're following an actual guide that has been a proven build. If you're just trying something out, you might want to plug it into one of the build editors online and make sure that the numbers hit where you want them to hit before you actually spend the materials to do that. But if you use the trial jewelry method here, you're going to find you're going to be able to get a lot more builds done. I, for example, have 20 characters, and several of them have multiple builds on it. So it can really start to cost you a lot of money and time just farming for the resources to buy it. So keep that in mind on your builds. That's going to do it for this video. If you liked this video or thought it was helpful, please check out my channel and look at my created playlists for all of my content for the Elder Scrolls Online. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Bye.